Welcome to Disturbed. Tonight we are going to talk about Season 6, Episode 9, Chapter 9. I'm going to call it There Can Be Only One because, like they said, there's only going to be one survivor.
Yeah, they're down to one.
And I'm going to also say it's more and more bad choices. I'm your host, Chris Mao. With me tonight is...
Bad choice number 2, Rob Southgate. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Rob. How you doing today, sir?
So this is called Chapter 9. I always get confused, the way they name these.
It's hard. It's chronological is really tough. Yeah. So...
yeah, man.
Hey, you ran out of fingers after this one. What are you going to call the next one? 9 3/4?
Right.
I'm just wondering.
It's a short episode.
It is, yes.
You know what?
Hello.
Between this and then Enough Said when we recorded the other day, I've shown my hands so much. I was doing to a Lil the Spock thing. I was going like this, you will always be and have been my friend, or whatever he says. I don't remember.
Yes,
you always will be
and always will be my friend. Yes.
Yes. And he said, I don't watch Star Trek. But he knew what it was.
I'm just, whatever.
Yep, lame.
I mean, love the guy to death, but I'm going to slam him. No Star Trek? Come on, dude.
Yeah, how do you not?
I mean,
all right,
exactly.
Can we get started on this show? Hey,
yes, let me interject one thing before you there. So I'm at the deli doing some work and actually doing a little bit of prep work for the show here today. And
that doesn't sound like us.
It doesn't sound like us, but I try to do some. And a guy's phone just starts blaring with a ring. It's the Death March from the Star Wars. Da, 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 da.
Oh, the Imperial March? Awesome.
Yeah, Imperial March. He's all embarrassed, and I just give him 2 thumbs up. My dog would like to say hi. So
excellent. Hi, dog.
Hi, Angus. Angus wants the podcast, he said. So.
That's right. He might be better than us at this point. We have completely botched this one. I want to point out that in the picture here, for those of you watching on YouTube or later on our YouTube channel, that's a picture that somebody sent me that's supposed to be me when I'm old, and I think it's unbelievable. I love it.
It's fantastic.
Yep. And really, I think he's old. When I say that, it's like 2 years from now. So
yeah, or 5 years ago.
Look at these glasses, too. When we record during the day, the way the sun hits my glasses, I look like Mr. Magoo.
Yes.
So maybe it'll be Mr. Magoo's horror story.
It's Thurston Howell III. Amazing. Hey, wait, that's the same guy. I apologize. I digress.
All right. I want to talk about this one. First of all, seriously, this was full of twists and turns.
Oh, absolutely. And it was great.
The way it began, though, made the whole thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
When Farmiga shows up, what was her name in this? Sally. Sophie Green. When she shows up with those other 2 kids and they're kind of doing a Blair Witch type thing, I thought this was really great. And it kind of goes in line with what we had said might happen, although it didn't happen in the final episode. It happened while this was going on.
Well, I mean, they kind of let the cat out of the bag when they kind of said, well, 1 through 5's one set of story. And then
when they told you that.
Right, then 6 through 9's another, and then but there's 10 episodes. So I was kind of figuring that this episode would be the big reveal and do a lot of stuff, and it didn't disappoint. Although I think I texted you and we talked about this. I thought this little stretch, as great as it is, got kind of stupid at the end, and I was kind of glad. I'm kind of glad it's over. I love this episode. So
I think it went 1 episode too long. Yes. I think that if they had compressed what they did, kept it going, but compressed it and had if we call this the 8th episode, then had the 8th episode been this one, compress the other stuff and just trim the fat till it goes down 1 episode. This would have been amazing. But I agree that there were points where it was kind of stretching it, and it was like, okay, yeah, this you're trying to show me all the raw footage. I need a little less of the raw footage.
Right. We need a little more. Well, they could have the one, I guess, a criticism is all of these deaths. They could have made them a little bit more. They could have stretched them out instead of just kind of be like, oh, you're on the hallway. Here you go. You're dead.
Yeah.
They could have done a little bit more with that. But they, if you look at it like they're trying to make it like the bad horror film, it was a bad horror film. And that's what was great about it.
Right. Well, and okay. So I want to talk about this thing with Sophie Green.
Yes.
To me, I told you, I loved how they went into this like Blair Witch type thing. But when they saw the woman, I can't think of her name, the production, the PA.
Is it Carrie or Casey?
I think it's Carrie. When they saw her in the woods, I'm like, wait a minute, is that her? And then they find the car and the body's in there. I thought that was really, really great. She's trapped there just like the other victims.
Right.
But she's not connected to the other victims yet.
No.
She's not part of that group. She's not cool. She didn't sit at the cool table with Piggy.
Well, we did not see
Piggy and the Nurses.
Diana Cross is what her name is. Sorry.
Diana. Okay. Piggy and the Nurses is the name of my new band, by the way.
What is?
Piggy and the Nurses.
Piggy and the Nurses. R is for Rory. I'll open for you. R is for Rory.
R is for Rory. Opening for Piggy and the Nurses.
Piggy and the Nurses.
We crack ourselves up.
Headlined by the Butcher.
The Butcher. I am the Butcher. I always headline.
Agnes as the Butcher. That would be the band. Let's call it Agnes.
You're my hero. You are the Butcher. I am the Butcher. Yeah, yep, love it. Love it. I love every minute of that.
Oh yeah, that was great. So, but yeah, so I mean, so they get this thing, and when I first saw it, I'm like, oh man, they went like 5 years in the future.
Right.
And
I thought the same thing.
Kids doing it, and then all of a sudden they go in, they see the bodies by the trailer. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like
right now. Yeah.
Like they talk about bad choices, bad time to be there. Blood Moon when they're filming this, and they show up. So
how about that? When they look up and they're like, "Oh, look, it's the Blood Moon." You're like, dumbasses! Did you not watch the show? Now they wouldn't have seen the Return to Roanoke, so they don't know.
No.
They just
they don't know that it's bad. But
thing.
just like Sydney thinks, oh, this is a crock of BS,
right?
And they show up, and it's kind of funny that they show up because like, yeah, we're going to be there in the Blood Moon, and we're going to go viral. We're going to get all these followers. Oh, sorry. So
yeah,
they got some extra crispy followers. That's for sure.
Let's talk about that. The way they died.
Oh yeah.
To me, once again, this had so many surprises in it. So we knew that there was going to be one survivor. We didn't know. They said out of that group there was one survivor. So this group of three could have survived. The one gets taken down fast. Boom, he's gone. The other two,
he does.
Yeah, he gets taken down. The other two end up with Monet, right? Was it Monet? Who did they end up with?
No, they're watching. Remember?
Yeah, but I thought they were watching with somebody, weren't they?
They were watching Lee, and they were following Lee around.
Right.
They didn't see what's going on after Lee.
Lee killed their friend. And and then we saw them follow Lee. They watch as the Roanoke show up, and then the way they died. Once again, I was not expecting. I thought, okay, they're going to witness this. They're going to get out of there, and people are going to think they're crazy. But then that's going to tie all this together, and that's going to lead us into the final episode where it's the third story based on these kids.
Nope. Sorry.
Impaled, and burned.
Yeah. Well, not only impaled, they get impaled and then lifted up in the air and then put on a stake.
Spiked and then lit on fire.
And they have their GoPros going the whole time.
Yeah, that's good. That's good eating too. I just got to say.
Yeah, it was. It did. It was extra crispy. Yeah, it was fantastic. I will tell you what. I love all that, but why are these people filming all this stuff while they're running around? My first.
Why do they have the GoPro? Well, they have GoPros in that on.
Well, the GoPros I understand, but they still had their selfie sticks, and they're running around with the selfie sticks.
Because I'll tell you, it made sense
in the beginning, yes.
But it continued to make sense because they were saying this is going to go viral. They never thought they were going to die. And then after that point, I think they forgot they had them in their hands. They were just running. They were just in panic mode. And at the end, when we saw them burning, those were the GoPros. That was not selfie sticks and any of that. They were.
No, the GoPros, I understand. I can deal with that. And I thought that was great.
You're talking about like when they were running. I bought it. I bought it as it was panic. They were just running and holding and like, although I would have thought it would have been a cool shot if one of the two of them took their selfie stick and threw it at Lee, and you'd see the of the camera. Yep. There was a lot of cool stuff with cameras. I'm always a sucker for that. When you do things in the environment, it's like with sound. Whenever there's like good sound stuff, one that just came into mind was in the Bourne Identity. In the first one,
right?
There's a great sound element that I could watch 1,000 times when he's in the Mini Cooper. Every time it cuts to outside of the Mini Cooper, the sound is like boom outside. As soon as they get inside, it's the same sound, but it muffles because he's inside of a car, and you hear the inside of the car noises. It's done so well. It's like just gorgeous sound editing. Same thing with like camera work. Whenever there's like, interesting things done in the environment or with the particular type of camera, I'm a sucker. And there was a lot going on here, especially the GoPros looking down as they're burning and like how the head dropped. You didn't see the head drop. You saw the camera drop. So he's dead.
Right.
He's already dead. But when they impaled these guys, holy cow.
Yeah, it was crazy. How about the little parts when they fall on the ground and are looking at each other and the GoPros are looking at each other? I thought that was fantastic that they put that. It's kind of like, that touching part of it.
Yes. Yes. And one thing they've gotten right with this part, I mean, they've done it through the whole thing, but with this, where it's the kids with the GoPros and the phones, in a lot of films, when they do found footage stuff, there will be shots that take you out of it for a second. Blair Witch never did. Blair Witch, everything was shot with the actors holding the cameras. That is a real rarity. Even when they let the actors do it, they do like a far shot or something that takes you out of it.
Right.
That even happened last week on this show, I think, when I was wondering about who was under the table. I went back and watched that. There is definitely a camera under that table, and it's moving as if somebody's holding it.
Well,
they dropped that.
Hold on.
But this whole thing
was that when they put the camera on her thigh so she could talk to her daughter?
No, it was under the table.
Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think. I did not go back and look at it.
I went back and watched it. I wanted to see, could it have dropped? Could it be the camera that he was holding there? It looks, I swear, it looks like somebody is holding it, and it's under the table at an angle that when they put the camera the other way, you can see that table's not right next to her. Who there had to be somebody under there.
Sure.
But they dropped that, and maybe that was just to give a cool shot. But this segment where they had the GoPros and they had the things, I never once felt like I went out of it. I felt like they were cutting between them because somebody was trying to edit this raw footage together, which is a nightmare. But I felt like it was all legit.
Oh yeah, me too. And I like, you were talking about the different camera scenes. How about when they went into the trailer and the cameras were still on, but their cameras were on the cameras, and then there was a camera shot of the guy raising his hand that he was looking through his camera at the screen. I thought that was fantastic.
I loved it. I loved it.
That was that kind of, to me, I like you to talk about legitimized that they were there at that time, because maybe they could have been there. I hate to say a couple days later. They were there in that moment, and you're just like,
in the moment. Well, and we saw Lee eat the heart that the witch gave her.
Yeah.
And when that happened, you're like, oh yeah. And all those theories, like, well, maybe she was just saying she killed him to escape and all that. That's all out the window.
Right.
She clearly was part of this from the time she got there. There's something about her family. There's something about her and Matt tied into that house. And I bet in this next episode, we're going to find something out.
Sure. Absolutely. And
I got a question.
Sarah Paulson playing her third character in the series, which is great.
The character from before. I love it.
Well, she's playing the character from Murder House.
Yeah, the psychic from Murder House. Love it. I loved her on that so much. I'm so excited to have her back doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. I just had a thought.
Better if she was the Siamese twins. That would have been better.
I love the Siamese twins.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. And this might be completely whacked out on a scale of, as wacky as we've had them. I think that my idea here is not terribly wacky. We've done worse. But here's my idea. Remember Mott's lover?
Yes.
Was he African American?
Yes. He was a slave.
Could he be related bloodline to Matt and Lee?
I don't know. That's interesting.
We need to look. I'm going to look it up while we're on here. Gloomy House is watching us, right? Gloomy House, if you know, chime in and let us know. Huh?
Is anybody here?
Yeah, Gloomy House is here.
Oh, hi, Gloomy House.
Yeah, I want to know if by chance they give his last name. Okay, I'm going to look it up. Let's see. It's American. Follow the Q. I already wrote it. I wrote it wrong. AHS, Roanoke, IMDb. Let's go with that. I can't multitask. I'm sitting here like trying to write it. Oh my gosh, it's the worst. Here we go. Chapter. What do you think chapter that was? Where he was there?
Mott is 4 or 5, wasn't it?
Okay. Previous episodes.
When is Mott introduced? It's not 6. It's 5 or 5.
Okay, I'm actually just kind of looking to see if I spot him. These pictures are so tiny, I can't spot him. I've even got the Magoo glasses on, and I can't spot him. Okay, let's see if Gloomy House gave us any. Gloomy House, come on, do your business and let us know.
Was he Milo?
Milo? I don't know. Is that it?
I'm just looking. I'm looking at Wikipedia. So this is the interwebs as it happens, folks.
I'm on IMDb. Here we go. This should have the full cast. You thought it might be Milo. I don't see a Milo in this.
John Bass is his name.
What, the actor?
Yeah.
Okay. And it just says Milo. It doesn't give anything more than that?
Yeah. Doesn't give it's not. No, Milo's one of the kids. Sorry. Well, I don't know. I don't.
We're so far off. Let's see.
Mason. Hold on. Let me take a look.
It's funny. I'm trying to look quickly, and I can't figure out who anybody is in any chapter here. Maybe he's chapter 5?
Chapter 5 is when it is, yes.
Okay, that's going to help because I'm on chapter 4, and he's not in chapter 4.
Chapter 5.
All right. And Gloomy House still not coming through for us.
That's a big question. Yeah, maybe, because they do say that they lived there their whole life, but if they lived around that area their whole life, they would know something's up, so why would they come back?
Oh, I got him. His name was Guinness. Henderson Wade played the character. His name was Guinness.
Oh, there we go. I see it. Okay.
But all it says is Guinness.
It's a hell of a beer.
Could Guinness be related to Miller?
I don't know.
Or could the Millers be related to Guinness somehow? And even if we did have the last name, it might not tell us because, how changeable that can be. But I wonder if that's why the witch is tied in. If we go back and we watch that episode and we see what happened, although you know what, that was the TV adaptation of what happened. So we don't know. Maybe we'll see a flashback where we'll see the real thing.
Yes.
Maybe Guinness is the key and brought them, made this all happen with the witch. And that's why the witch is trying to mate with Matt and why Lee was so susceptible and fell into this whole thing. And maybe that means that Mason was actually a sacrifice, whereas we're thinking Mason was there. She did this to Mason because he was ruining her life or whatever. But maybe when she was out there, the witch made her crazy, and it's what got her to do a blood sacrifice of Mason to the witch, and that's actually what saved Flora, because she maybe Flora was going to be the original sacrifice.
Right.
Maybe Matt did that, and Lee stopped that. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could look at it. We may not get any of these answers, but I'm thinking there's something about those two tied into that witch, tied into that community that we're going to find out.
There's probably some tie, or maybe they're just both susceptible to being possessed by the witch. And
could be too.
They both have those desires. And first it was Matt and then it was Lee. So
I like to have my crazy theories and I like them to be correct. So
I like them. And some of yours are almost right, Mr. Inhuman, by the way. So
hey.
I know.
Why, huh?
I was telling the guys at the store today about that, how you called that. I said, after you call 500, you're bound to get one right.
Yeah, I'm good though. I called a lot of good ones.
No, you haven't. That was a good one. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously some kind of tie in there. Now, let me ask you this.
Yes. Riddle me this, Batman. We obviously see Lee eat the heart and then just go ballistic and start killing people. Yeah.
Do you think that happened when she did that to her ex? Or do you think that she just did that on her own?
Oh, do you think she ate the heart?
Did she do it twice and then remember? Because it seemed like,
are you saying that what we saw was current?
Right. So what we saw was current, but like when.
Oh, you cut out, man. I don't hear a word.
Or not. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Sorry. So I'm just saying, like, I understand that it's current. I understand that Lee ate the heart and then killed the kids and did all that stuff. And then basically became the butcher. Right?
Right.
Did she do that before when she killed her ex, or did she just do that?
You mean as far as eating a heart?
Well, yeah, because
I think that eating the heart was the step that put her in that elite squad of the butcher and Lee and the witch. Right. I think that was what that was. I think that what happened with Mason was the blood sacrifice. I really do. I think that's what we witnessed, even though we never thought that's what was going on. We thought it was a blood sacrifice from the butcher or to the butcher.
Right.
But it was actually to the witch.
Those kids weren't the blood sacrifice. The blood sacrifice was...
Not the kids, Mason.
Right. The guy who played Mason was a blood sacrifice because they took out his entrails.
The kids weren't a blood sacrifice. They were just destroyed.
Right. They were just crispy critters.
They were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
They got the Dr. Cunningham. They got the Dennis O'Hare treatment.
Right. Boy, that butcher sure does like entrails, doesn't she?
Yeah. That how about that view with the camera right there? Oh. That was pretty awesome. I was like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's one thing. They've really delivered the gore in a different way this year. And, I don't want them to do that every time. I don't want it to just be that, but it's made it definitely a different show again. I mean, think about the gore in this season versus last season. There were a couple of times, like with the vampire kids and that, where we got a pretty good bloody scene. But this season has been entrails, burned up people.
It was always blood and just biting. It wasn't.
Yes.
This is very horror filmish. This is
cutting throats and all that stuff. Yeah.
This is back in the 80s. This is the Lil John Carpenter. This is all that hack and slash.
Right.
How gross can we make it where it's been pretty tasteful before? So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. I think that it's made it really visually different than the other seasons. And I found that really to be pleasant. I don't want next season to be the same. I want it to do what they've done. Give us something completely new.
Right.
And I have no idea what that's going to be. I do know that now they said, I think it's next season, they are going to tie back to the Murder House and to, is it Asylum or Coven?
No, I thought it was Coven and Murder House, but who knows?
Coven. I watched that movie, American Movie. You ever see that documentary?
Yes.
Yeah, where he calls it Coven.
Yes.
And ever since then, and it's like, you called it Coven. It's Coven. I call it Coven because of that stupid movie. I can't get it out of my head. So every time I say it, I'm like, oh, stupid Mark Borchardt.
Yes.
Not stupid Mark Borchardt. I love that movie so much.
No, it's great, but it is. It's like one of those. It's like the guy just says tomato instead of tomato. You're like,
right, and then it sticks in your head.
Well, they're both probably correct. So
I've got it caught in my craw. I need the butcher to get it out. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, I loved that there was the fan group that they were part of called the Army of Roanoke.
Yes,
that was great because of what we do.
That's her website.
I know. I love it. I mean, we've got 90 different fan podcasts in that. We've got all these fun names, and even within that, like Nuff Said has its own like Nuff Said universe and all these different things. Army of Roanoke totally got me going. Oh, there should be an Army of Roanoke thing for this, but it's only one season,
right?
So we got to come up with something though. We got to unite our fans somehow on here, so that they're the disturbed. They're the disturbed.
Yes.
Disturb heads? No. What would we call them? Disturby pants.
Disturbed in the pants. Hello.
Ew.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
What else do we have here? I'm trying to go through here. Yeah, go ahead.
And how about Mason? Well, what's the guy's name? It's not Mason what is his actual name? What does he call himself?
Mason.
Dylan.
Mason was the dad.
No, Dylan, right. But Dylan, Wes Bentley as Dylan and Ambrose.
Yes.
Where he comes in, I served 2 tours
in
Afghanistan.
Awesome.
First dead. What a moron.
What was awesome with that is when he showed up and he's like, I'm an actor and I'm supposed to be Piggy. And then turned out like, I was in the military and all that. And you're like, I get this. He came back. Now he's going to be an actor. And this is I got all these ideas about him, the way they played that out. And then you knew as soon as he started taking charge, I'm like, that guy is so toast. He doesn't know what he's walking into. Clueless.
But he was the first one to believe them that this was real, like right away. And he's looking at the body, he's like, not even mad, not upset, just kind of looked at him. Oh, that guy's dead. She's dead.
Right.
Oh, okay. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. And then who would split up at the house?
No kidding.
What is wrong with these people?
No kidding. Wait, is this we can't call it bad choice number 1. We can't even keep track of the bad choices. That was a bad choice.
Yeah, but then Aubrey does the right thing and shoots him in the head. It's like fantastic. It's like finally somebody does the right thing.
Well done, Aubrey. And then they find Monet. This was great. They find Monet tied up at the Polks. So the last time we saw her, she was running through the woods and they were chasing her. Mm-hmm. We kind of thought there was a chance that she might be the one that survives. Yes. And then life imitates art. She gets blamed for the murders. No. Polks have her. They're torturing her the same way. We get that weird Polk with the long hair. He's upset about mom dying and blah, blah, blah. Audrey shoots him in the head. Ishmael. Yes. He was Ishmael. That was awesome.
Ishmael, yeah.
They go back to the house. Of course they had to, though. I mean, you're sitting there going like, oh, bad choice number 3. But you know what? It's getting dark. At least it's inside, because anywhere else they go, they're just going to get slaughtered. At least they stand a minuscule chance.
Right. Well, but then they sit up in the bedroom, no weapons, nothing, a bottle of wine, two girls sitting there chatting on the bed like, oh, we're going to die. I'm like, come on, at least put up some kind of fight.
Right. Yeah. Well, the worst part is when they pulled up Mystery Date. They started playing that. And they're like, well, now that Rory's dead, let's play Mystery Date. No, they didn't do that.
No, they could have, but
but it was about that bad. Monet's big. I don't even remember what this was because so much happened. But Monet's big snap about Lee's confession was hilarious. I don't remember. Yes. I don't remember what happened though. Did she just go nuts on it? Like, I do it. I can't remember. I just wrote on here, ha ha, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, no, because they made such a big deal that Lee had to get this tape to exonerate us, where it's exonerating herself or covering up what she said. And then they play the tape because they're like, this sounds weird. They finally get it. And then they see it and they're like, oh. they were both pissed off that they actually did all this stuff for her. And then all of a sudden, Lee shows up. And
I love that, too, how Lee was heading back to the house. And the kids are like, we got to go back there. We got to save them because they have no idea. I thought that was a really, it was an interesting take on what was going on. Because those kids, when they see Lee walk away, you would think they'd get the hell out of there. And you would also think, oh, well, this is another bad choice that they're going to go. But I really think, and this goes back to Sophie Green, because she was the one motivating that. I think when we get into character motivation, I think we learned a lot about her character. She could not leave somebody in jeopardy.
Right.
She could not do it. And that's why that happened. Does it seem like a bad choice? Yeah, absolutely. Run the other direction, although they would have right into the Roanoke's and done. But to me, I was like, it made logical sense because we learned the ethical stance of this particular character. The guy would have hightailed it out of there.
Sure.
He was on board when she was leading, so he was more of a follower to it, but it was not his stance that took them there.
No.
So that was another area where I thought, I just found it really intriguing as I'm watching, trying to piece these together and figure out the characters. I thought they really did a great job with this character that's in it for one episode and dies after 10 minutes of screen time,
Right. I thought there was something to her. I just thinking back, I just, I don't know if it was their stab at millennials or what they were doing and just talking about, well, this is going to go viral and nobody does this. And they're just completely clueless and running around. After seeing what they saw at the car, what in the blank are they doing going back there? I mean, nothing personal. When you've seen this and you think of all this stuff that possibly could happen that you've discounted and think it's just a scam, and then you go and see that, what would make you think about going back?
Okay, let's go back to what you said then, though. You were saying that you thought it might be like an 80s horror movie.
Well, yeah, but still,
that makes sense. That's what they would do in one of those horror movies.
They even said that this is how every horror movie ends. Doesn't he say that isn't that what he says in the trailer?
Yes.
This is what happens in every single horror movie. Milo says that, which I thought was a great line. He does say that, right?
I think so.
I think they're talking about it.
If not, you and I were tweeting it to each other. I don't know.
No, I think that's what he says. I maybe I'm crossing up stuff, but he's like, this is what happens in every single horror movie.
I think he did. I really do think he did.
And then you're just like, there's, and it's typical. Call the cops. We're not going to come out and help. We're not going to come out and help because of you dang kids. You're, that was like the Goonies reference. Oh, what's it now this time, Lawrence?
But Pirate Petey's out here we're not coming out there, you stupid kids.
It's the Forellis. They're coming. I mean, so
yeah.
But still, it's all they would have to do is take a picture of a couple of bodies, and those cops would come out unless they know what's happening and just said, we're not coming out. So
I'm going to give you another real smart moment in this that made a lot of sense.
Yes.
So everything up to now has been footage recovered from the trailer and that.
Yes.
They made sure to say that the footage from their GoPros, from their phones, was from Milo's iCloud account.
Right.
I thought that was really smart because it's just streaming right to the iCloud. We don't have physical things that we have to worry about anymore. It actually opens up an idea for people that are doing these type of found footage things. Like, of course, it's just streaming what we're doing right now. We could be streaming this from our phones.
Right. Well, Mark, we should do a movie about lost footage found in the iCloud. You and I write it right now.
Oh, like VHS.
VHS.
Yes. You know what? That's it. It's ours.
Timestamp. We got it.
We are going to do iCloud, and we will do it just like VHS. We'll get some of our friends that are horror writers. Anyone watching this, if you write horror, if you want to direct some, let us know, and we will put together like a little short film thing for Disturbed. It'll be a Disturbed thing. The best, I don't know how many. We'll put them together. We'll make a little short film festival out of it, but it's all recovered from the iCloud.
That would be fantastic. All the weird crap you see.
All right. There, so we are co-executive producers on that, Chris.
I'll let you in on that. No, I'm teasing.
I just cut a Lil out because he's not here.
No, Lil can have it. He's
Jack's out too. Cut.
They got to beg their way back in. You want a piece of this? You want a piece of this? So no. How about going back? And I thought you were going to mention this. They went to the body cams of the police officers.
That was awesome too.
How awesome was that? I mean,
once again, I love that kind of stuff. And they did. This was so cool. And you weren't you completely engaged when they were doing that?
And then when Aubrey, so like going back, Lee finds Aubrey running around, who actually got away after Monet got axed.
Yeah.
Right after Monet got pushed down and stabbed through the heart in total bad 80s horror fashion, falling down the stairs, stabbed in the middle of the chest with a spike from the chandelier. It was fantastic.
It was great. I like how her body was twitching there when they went by.
Yeah, it was very good. It was fantastic. Yeah. But then, Aubrey kind of gets away from Lee after she hits her upside the head and knocks her down or whatever, runs to go in the cellar. And of course, Lee shows up right then, hits her. She falls down the stairs and Lee's like, that's enough of you. Who doesn't follow up? Right. I hate to be like that. What, typical stupid bad choice from the murderer standpoint.
Yeah. In fact, I wrote on here, Audrey's still alive.
Yes. And then Audrey, of course, but then you get to the scene with the body camera and that whole camera with her right in her face.
And they shoot her down dead. Dead.
But you could see Lee getting out of the truck or the car. You could just see the instant look at her. She's like, you could just see it in her face. And I thought that was great acting. You son of a, you killed everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then she pulls the gun and, then she gets nailed. But that was it. So
all worked out great. Just exactly the way she needed it to. And then that's it for the episode. Then we get into this final episode that we're going to be coming into. First thing we see, Lana Winters, which I was so happy when I saw Lana Winters. I was like, this is exactly what I needed to have happen. And I didn't know I needed that to have happen. I can't wait to hear her and Lee.
Oh, yeah.
And what they're going to do with that. Because they're going to do it like an Oprah, and they're going to show the footage, and they're going to do this. But they're not going to just recap the story. There's got to be a whole story going on in this episode.
Well, maybe we'll find out about the Guinness thing. Would that be awesome?
It would be, if I'm right on that one, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah, because that would be
even with my Mr. Magoo glasses going on.
You would be, that he got it right every once in a while, even though he came back. But no, I mean, this is going to be a great episode because it's going to be we're going to try to make her, obviously a likable character.
Right.
And I don't know how they're going to do it. Are we going to see what's the daughter's name? I can't think of it. I'm drawing the blank.
Flora.
Are we going to see Flora in this episode?
Absolutely. I'm calling it right now. Where you're going to see Flora is on Lana's show. They're going to bring Flora out. Oh, she's alive. And, they're going to do that whole thing. Absolutely.
I'm going to call it right now. Flora's going to kill her mom.
You know what?
I'm calling it.
And she could. And I'll tell you, you might be right. Because if indeed my theory is right, Flora is part of the bloodline.
Yep. Well, or Flora just knows that her mom's psycho and she's a little psycho and she's going to do it. So
I think that it would make sense for her once Lee is out there in the public, for Flora to take Lee out to go back to the woods.
Right.
Because Lee is what has kept Flora from the woods at this point. So she could run off and be, Tarzan Jr. out in the woods with the witch.
Right.
And sure, you might be right on that one.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't bring back the ghost a little bit more because they made such a big deal about the ghosts in the beginning of the series that we didn't see them at least at this point. At
least in that last episode when all hell was breaking loose, the ghost should have been around. But if you think about the previous episode, we had the spiders on the spider crawling around the walls. We had
and Mott was there.
We had Mott. We had the nurses. They were all there. Piggy was there.
But Cricket wasn't there.
Cricket didn't show
wasn't
up.
there.
Right.
neither did. Well,
but maybe if after Lana's thing, what if she says, I'm taking you out to the woods to put this to rest?
Right.
Because that's what she does. Maybe that's what we're going to see is she's going to go back out there, and that's where Cricket's going to come up. You don't want to be out here, sweetie.
Yeah. Dude, can I get my Coke Zero and my Uber? How about the Uber driver again?
Did you order an Uber? Yeah, the Uber driver. That was great, man.
Same guy. Yeah. The only Uber driver in Roanoke. That's awesome.
That's right. All right. Let's end this one. We got one more to this season. And yeah, man, I'm ready. So follow us on Twitter at DisturbedPod. Go to our Facebook page. It's Disturbed Podcast. Chris, where can they follow you on Twitter?
Absolutely. I can be, I'd said Blue Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on social media.
Yeah, it's right there on the screen for those of you watching. Let's see. What else? Oh, definitely follow us on Twitter. We've exploded. I know it's not going to sound like we've exploded. When you consider how many downloads we have and how big our following is, like on Facebook, our Twitter thing has been awful. Last week we were at like 80 follows. We're now at 305. We have been gaining steam big time, and we're going to continue to gain steam. Here's two things that you want to know. First of all, I talked to Entertainment Earth yesterday. They want to do some contests and things with our different shows, including this one. Specifically brought up American Horror Story. So even in the off season, we may be running some contests. But the only way you're going to know about them is if you follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. That's where we're going to post that kind of stuff. And
follow us on MySpace.
And then also follow us on MySpace and use your CompuServe account.
And your AOL account. Although I know people still with AOL accounts, which is scary.
In the show notes, we always put that we have the show T-shirt, the official T-shirt for the show. It's by TeePublic. We're also going to be doing promos with them. And in fact, between now and Christmas, we will have a ton of shirts going out. We're going to be tweeting out about them. Lots of sales. They've got stuff marked down that we requested down to $14 instead of $20 for the shirts. That's a huge savings. So definitely keep your eye on that. What is that? 30%? That's pretty 25%. Significant. Yeah,
that's still a lot. 25% is a lot. So
that's pretty significant. So keep your eye on that. But you got to follow us on Twitter. Got to follow us on Facebook. Those are the places we're going to be posting that stuff. And boy.
Yeah. And let us know what you guys think. Let us know your theories or what you think or what you want to have happen or you would like to see happen in future episodes. Because I think Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk, I think I don't want to say looking for ideas, but I think they like the fan input.
I think they do too. I think they pay attention. The other thing is, if anyone out there is interested, after this is done, because we've been having a fun time with these YouTube live things, we could potentially do like a roundtable with fans and do it right here on YouTube Live. But we got to get some interest in that. So if you want to be a part of that, if you think that sounds cool, send us a note. Email us, southgatemediagroup@gmail.com. Send us a direct message on Twitter. Send us something on Facebook. And we'll consider how many we can take in and what we'll do. But I think that would be blast. Get one more episode at the end where we do a roundtable and everybody gets to like geek out about this season and talk about next season a little bit. So if you're interested in being down with that, Gloomy House, I'm looking in your direction. You're still on there. Definitely send us a note and we will we'll see what we can set up. That's it. You done?
I'm done.
All right. I hate to say it, but I'm ready to go back to the future. No.
Marty.
To Roanoke.